Do 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 do. Cool. Well, howdy amateurs, and welcome to a new video that isn't about gaming this time, or video gaming, I should say. I haven't made videos in a while. I simply haven't wanted to, because I've been playing a shit ton of Elden Ring. I made some Elden Ring videos, and I stopped wanting to do that. But I did want to make a video about this thing that I've been doing recently. So, recently, in my career pursuits, I have learned more about Python. I've learned about Python before in coding, but I recently sat down and actually earned some certificates and learned and showed on paper that, hey guys, I know how to Python code. And by no means am I amazing at it, or I don't even consider myself a programmer. I just know some concepts and stuff. But I have sat down and applied it for a couple of projects that I've had some fun with. Also recently, since I was able to gamble, I've loved playing blackjack. I played a lot of it, and I know there's a lot of odds and people making up systems and stuff for them to win, and I've won quite a bit of money. I've lost some money, but I'm currently net positive, so that's good. But I'm not saying I'm an expert at blackjack either. But I brought those two together and sat down and worked on this project. Originally, my goal was to make a blackjack playing AI that would use the perfect strategy system, tried and true, to create a betting system that was both very profitable and negated as much loss as possible. I ran out of time because I'm turning 21 tomorrow and Mom wants to take me to the casino again, so I needed to sit down and do something else. So last night I wrote what this program is, and this program stress tests current betting systems that I could find online, and I found some pretty interesting results, and I just kind of wanted to show it off. So I will slowly scroll through this, and I say slowly, I will talk through this. If you don't know anything about coding, don't mind. I will show you what the numbers at the end of it mean. I'll show you the results, but I will kind of talk through it if you want to look at it, if you know code, because I want people to look at this and be like, oh, you made a mistake, or hey, you could have done this differently. So I could learn from the experience as much as perhaps, benefiting someone else. So let's do this. Random, because yes. This number is how many hands I'm evaluating, so 10,000 times. We have a bankroll of $500 and then a betting units. At my local casino, I generally play at 15 tables, but I'm using 25 here because I think it benefits a 500 bankroll. This is my function to produce my units. For 10,000 times, it gives me a win, push, or lose based off of current blackjack odds I could find. 42%, a push of 8%, and then everything else, which is 51%-ish, the house wins. Then my first betting system I use is simply the flat betting system, where you do not change your bet. You simply use the same bet over and over again. It's kind of the control system. Here's the positive progression system. Same thing. Evaluates it the same, win or lose. But here, the positive progression system, every time you win, you double your money, so you can have some good streaks. And these are numbers that just help me give the outputs that show what I'm doing is useful. Negative progression, kind of the opposite, where every time we lose, if the value is a loss, then we raise our units. Then we have the martingale system, where every time this effectively is betting. Or not betting, it's just effectively doubling and then my own system, which is kind of like the flat bet system, but my units change based on what my bankroll is. And I know this is, I say, oh yeah, 500 start. I like starting at a lower unit and then going up as I go, but whatever. This is just compile all the systems and then test them out and all that jazz, and that's what all of this junk is. But let me show you what I have found. Okay, so these are lists of each system, and each of these, what look like grid coordinates, are games played. So whenever it starts with a new $500 game, plays until it reaches 0, and then records how many hands were played, what was the maximum amount of money made in that game. And so you can already look, if I scroll down, that some of these restart a lot more than others, but I'll talk more about that. This is the percentage of ones, zeros, and negative ones, or for our information, how many times a hand was won out of 10,000, how many percentage of time there was a push, and percentage time that the house won. So that's pretty solid. And then here is our readouts. So again, this number is how many times that system restarted. So how many times it hit 0. So I'm kind of looking at it is how often that system loses in a single run. Then the average highest amount reached. So the ceiling of each game, the highest amount reached, which again, we never know when our highest amount was, but we can kind of gauge based off the 500. We kind of gauge, this is how much I could win on average. So go to, hey, walking away points of all of the systems. And what I've kind of found is the system I've been using is slightly better than flat bet, which makes me feel good. I lose slightly, very slightly less, but I make a solid percentage more. But these systems where things are kind of interesting. With these systems, you hit 0 a lot more than flat bet, so you're going to lose more, but your chances of winning are significantly higher. What I found is the negative progression, not compared to these, but compared to these, loses a little bit less, but also makes a little bit less. So there's almost a 33% change. So it's safer, but also makes less. And these two, what I've kind of found is they're very generally almost on par. Sometimes they're on par, sometimes the martingale loses a bit less. I've generally seen that the positive progression system makes a little bit less than the martingale system comparatively, but that is generally safer. This one was safer this time, but I've generally seen that I can roll them and see 112 is safer than 126 this time, with the same kind of margin, 120, 142, 116, 124. So we're still at the mercy of the ups and downs of the zeros, because the percentages stay around the same. So these show off to be solid blackjack odds, but how many streaks, win and lose streaks you have, obviously differ. So I think that's kind of what I have to show off. I just found this information super useful. I could have done something wrong with the way I've gone about this conceptually, and maybe some of my code was wrong, if y'all want to look at that for me. But I really do think so. But assuming that all of this is conceptually correct, this is some pretty interesting information I have found for myself. And with that, I think that's all I have for today.